so I don't know why they like me. But recently I started to turn and I've got a lot more women following me, which is kind of what I wanted. But I have wondered like what it is about me that makes these just bams. Because the thing that unites them is that they're nutters that come at my shows. I'd like to work out what it is.
I think sometimes that's the wrong type of Essex dad in the audience.
Yeah.
Like, might not communicate properly. And Bill Hicks created a sort of armchair activism. Maybe those people would have got up with a placard and done something, but they feel like because they've got an opinion that sounds good in the postcard, their work's done for the day. That is evil, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to agree with your audience on all things as well.
But it's like when people laugh at accents on stage, and you're like, why are they laughing at that accent? Are they actually laughing at what's being said, or do they just like the sound of like a certain accent and just laughing at it? I did
stuff about that, didn't he? Of kind of going, oh, it's a different type of laugh. That laugh where I was doing the routine and I realised they were laughing for the wrong reason.
Yeah. But once I got into comedy late, I started doing it, I started watching people whose energy I identified with, right? So I like your Chris Rocks or Lee Evans. And so I was going on a date with a girl and I was like, Chris Rock, you've got all of this stuff here, but he's misogynistic. No, he's not. He's exploring masculinity. He's not. It's just, trust me. So I was like, please, he's never come to the UK before. I want to see it. We walked in late to the gig through a door, and as I walked in, he was going, anyone ever given their bitch a slap of titty? This is why we're going out for dinner. I walked in on it. Maybe you got a point. Anyway, I think I can't think on a better note to go to the vote. I was expecting, I've got to be honest, that I was just going to be shot down. No, he's a genius. How dare you? You know, he's inspired by you. Been quite harsh, guys. I can't tell. All I can say to you before you vote is, does the genius outweigh the evil? That's what you must now weigh up in your mind. If it doesn't, if the screeds, if the lazy activism, if the hypocrisy forces you to dump him in the moral room 101 that's the evil box, then please do. I think I'm going to go to Fern first.
Well, I wanted to see what the others said first.
Well, Fern, I'll allow you to delay your vote, and I'll come to Kate first.
I just got evil, man.
There you go. That's boom, no shit.
Yeah, just for everything we discussed. I mean, he was a popular cult figure, but I think the clones that he created for me
have held us back. Have held philosophy, human progress, stand up back. Yeah, evil. Well done. Tiff.
Genius. I'm going to go with, because I don't want to put a comic in the bin. Or for someone who was at the time, in spite of their band, in spite of I can still enjoy the work. And as a woman, it's sometimes difficult as well, because that level of fandom that inspires, you know, like that's hard given to women, but I still think changed the game the way it was done, and I think for that reason I think yes.
Well, for a rather satisfying format purposes, you now have to decide.
Okay, I've changed my mind. I've decided genius because of his. I still think his material on Christianity still stands, and I think it's persuasive.
So that's it. Bill Hicks has been voted genius. Thank you very much, panel. That was a tough one. It's about what we do for a living. It's a very complicated area. Thanks so much to my panel, Kai, Tiffany, and Fern. Do find more episodes of Evil Genius, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing your ear holes again next time about evil and genius. Genius! 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 This is the BBC.
This podcast is supported by advertising outside BBC Sound, music, radio, podcasts. This podcast contains strong language and adult content.
Hello, welcome to Evil Genius, the BBC podcast where we take beloved figures from history and disfigure their remnants.
Alright.
Wrongness and moral origin. In the episodes so far, many were revealed as unsaintly, with exposed Roald Dahl as a mean twit, Einstein as a pervy cheat, and Mary Stopes turned out to be about as lovely as Ebola. Catch up on other episodes on your heroes to all turn out to be bellends. But on to today, Joan Crawford. Undoubtedly one of the screen goddesses of the previous century. Today's subject was the Golden Girl of Hollywood, star of the silver screen and television, the seductress with incredible eyebrows, but was she a bit of a girl bastard? By the end of today's fact orgy, my panel will have to clean themselves up. of dirty information and then vote one way or the other. Was Joan Crawford more evil than genius? I'm joined today by my panel of three. Einel Tomlinson, TV personality, stand-up comedian, is known for being one half of Johnny and Einel, well known on kids TV for the CBBC comedy show, The Johnny and Einel Show. What's that?
We did 2 series of it. It was fantastic fun. It's a sketch show.
I'm also joined by Amy Annette, one of the first people to rise to prominence with 2 first names instead of a surname. Is that true?
Michael Owen,
Oh yeah, shit.
just off the top of my head.
No, she's the host of What Women Want, where Amy and some of her funny friends have to try and understand the great unknowable mystery of our time, women.
Yes, that's true. I ran a podcast called What Women Want, and I edited a book called I Call Myself a Feminist. Very one lane with me.
Love it, I need to read that.
Lady.
It's like a Heinz manual for birds.
Yeah, exactly. Should have had that quote.
Marcus Bronzy, TV and radio presenter. You might know him from or Capital Radio, or from the How to Kill an Hour podcast. How many hours do you lose playing with the sound effects desk on Radio 1 Extra?
No, loads. Loads.
Do you know my favourite one? Smashing Glass sound.
Best one ever.
It's not violent, but there's chaos there.
It says a lot.
So we're moving on to Joan Crawford, classic Hollywood diva. What is your most evil or genius, I would judge? Diva, right then. Alright, now you strike me as so un-diva-ish. Please tell me something.
I've done one thing. You filmed the Johnny and Einel show. One of the runners came up to me and asked me what I like to drink. And I always drink a specific type of ginger beer. It's just been a childhood thing. My grandma gave me my first can when I was like 6, and it's, I love it. So I asked for that particular brand, and the runner couldn't find it at all. So they went to the wholesalers and they got tons of them. They got tons of crates because they knew I like this ginger beer, and they thought I would be like a diva. It's like, oh yeah, I don't need it.
You were like Mariah Carey.
So, Marcus, another totally annoyingly un-diva-ish type person. Please tell me you're a total bastard when your ride is not correct.
Oh, actually, that's a good one. Actually, riders. So for a while, and still to this day, I do a lot of DJ sets off the back of the radio at work. And I wondered why every time I went to a gig, there were like 50 towels for me. And apparently on my rider, my agent had been working with somebody else who had a very phenomenal rider with alcoholic beverages, beers and stuff. And he'd obviously tweeted the lady which had like, drink, I like to drink, and so I like to drink. He left the 15 towels on. So for about a year and a half, there was people running around white towels. And every time I went to the venue, they'd be like, here's your towels, mate. I'd be like, okay, cool. It's like, there's a few more there, you know. They're all thinking it's hot. Someone going to give birth. Yeah, and I'm not that sweet.
I think I'd like to be more of a diva, actually. I think I had it on the way here. I was helping a woman with her pram. She was having some trouble. I helped her through. You know, when you follow someone on the tube who's going to have pram, you know that you don't have to help them at every stage of the thing. So you help them onto the escalator, then help them off the escalator, then help them onto the train. And by the end, she wasn't really saying thank you to me anymore. So I know. And I was like, I'm not doing this for the baby. I'm doing this for the thank you.
Yeah.
And then in the last one, I was like helping the pram, and I just like looked at her, and I realised you're not really meant to look for the thank you, but she really noticed, and she was like, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like,
you didn't drop the pram?
I dropped the pram.
I'm a big fan of an aggressive "you're welcome" when there's been no thank you.
Yeah.
You know, when someone's like, "You're welcome."
Women sometimes sorry so much. They say thank you. So if you're late, you say thank you for waiting, rather than I'm sorry for waiting.
And what that is a link. The pressures of femininity. Well, let's take it back to 1904. We talk about today's subject, Joan Crawford. That's when she was born. Lucille Lesueur in 1904. And the daughter of a labourer and waitress. We think it's hard to know who her dad was or what happened. Bit of self-mythologise, but let's just say it's true. She used to say, in my childhood, I didn't have any. Everything I have in my life, Hollywood gave me. I never went beyond this grade. Pictures gave me all my education. Her father deserted the family, this was her father before she was born, and her mother married a man called Henry Cassidy, who still changed her name to Billy Cassidy when she was 11. He also deserted them. She began into the dance contest, took herself as a showgirl, inverted commas being thrown out there, guys, and was eventually spotted, brought to Hollywood, and offered a movie contract. The studio thought her surname, Lesueur, sounded too much like Lesueur, so they launched a competition to rename the starlet. She hated the winning name, and one of the studio members, Joan Crawford.
Better than Lesueur, mate.
Got to
say that, innit?
She was a shining star in 1940s Golden Age Hollywood. She starred in films like Grand Hotel, Strange Cargo, won an Oscar for a lead role in 1945 Mildred Pierce. It was 5 years after she was told she was box office poison. She died on May 10, 1977 in pancreatic cancer. On Evil Genius we had an envelope each from the panel which is to give surprising or unexpected facts which helps steer the chat to the moral direction. So envelope number 1, please, you have it.
I have it. I will open it. It sounds like the word is alcoholic.
You're an alcoholic now. I realise, before we start maybe complaining messages to like main characters or less, we don't yet have a conclusive alcoholism. It's one way or the other. I realise we're in the middle of understanding this. I'm not trying to be defensive, but alcoholism is a evil fox. Joan once said, alcoholism is an occupational hazard of being an actor, of being a widow, and of being alone. And I am all three. Wow, she carried 100 proof vodka. I think that was possible. We have 110% of it on her. That matched her outfit. She always had a mini fridge in her bathroom. She always wanted a nice Jerry took this in particular, that she walked around with glasses and I thought it was water, but she was always it's out.
A baby, but
she was always on concept. She couldn't memorise her lines. In 1968, her daughter Christina Crawford, much more on her later, was an actress in her own right, and she was cast in soap opera sequences. 28-year-old daughter in soap opera. Christina took sick for an operation. Joan crossed the ego, not much to do with it, and went in, about 60 at this point, and went and tried to do the part, pissed out of her head, couldn't remember the lines, breathing them off thoughts. It's either the ultimate act of maternal sacrifice, or in her head, she was still the 28-year-old alpha female and was going to put her foot down. Sadly, she was so pissed that she couldn't. She was often irrational, hysterical, and violent. But alcoholism, this is going to be controversial as F, guys. But can we put alcoholic in a box? Now, I'm an equally alcoholic, and then a total alcoholic, and there is a selfishness there, which is far removed from opining regarding that addiction.
Well, I think, especially for the time, Hollywood was all about drinking and smoking. If you didn't do that, you're not in the industry. And so, like, from what you were saying in terms of they held a competition just to brand her, like, that's from the beginning. She hasn't been part of that world because, right, we've named you now, this is the name you have, you'd have to go along with it.
It's like we do on like X Factor and stuff like that. You know, if we put a boy band together, you're called One Direction, this is what you represent, you're the funny one, you're the gang one, you're the
So it's so easy to see how you kind of fall down that rabbit hole. Yeah. Are we going to put her in the, I don't want to put her in a box, but a functioning alcoholic because of the high function that she managed to maintain throughout Hollywood? Because, you said she turned up on set drunk when she was 60, but she was knocked out some crap.
Most of her, I was giving that example, but for most of her life, she was off her head drunk, animating at the same time.
Yeah.
Did I be on the dance floor last night?
Enough about that.
I know the point that Hollywood at that time was a very, I think, wet culture. Like, everyone was drunk all the time. Like, having said that, when you sort of glorify that version of Hollywood and people sort of talk about the golden age of film, a lot of what they're talking about is quite terrifying studio managed things, like the idea of getting a female actress now and being like, what do we name her? She's a boy. You know,
I know it's bad on miles.
Yeah, and but those manufacturers, people often have quite a tough time, don't they? Because you can't hold yourself to the standards that a corporation sets for you.
Yeah, exactly. You watch many old men, I know it's not really bad, because whenever they walk in, the guy and the girl, they always have this like glow cocktail thing that they open, and they pour a tumbler, like an index finger deep, with whiskey and drink it at 2 o'clock. I didn't sleep. I don't know what you make countdown.
There wasn't too many references in the movies, and when they were, they weren't playing the greatest parts. I think you're talking about this kind of transcendent. I don't feel as if they relate to me. I can understand the culture of the time. I can understand how things work, and especially in terms of how studio they call the actresses that they want and then put them in their movies. And so it was quite a sexy at the time. So I kind of understand where the alcohol and everything else kind of comes into it, and I can see how someone like Joe kind of falls victim to that. It's very, I don't see it as being a simple thing of her being an alcoholic.
So what else, I guess, what other options did she have?
Exactly. No one's telling her to go see a therapist. They're buying that.
Especially at that time, if she came from a poor background, like, you know, to say therapy was not an option for her.
I think it's hard to talk about this vodka problem and how it relates to her hysterical, violent behaviour without moving on to envelope number 2. I think that all complete the picture. Joan couldn't have children herself, and she adopted 4 children: Christina, Christopher, Cindy, Kathy. The oldest, Christina, wrote a tell-all memoir after her death called Mummy, and it later made into a movie, which, if you like Ham, I recommend you watch, because it's full Serrano. Joan said that Joan said that can't imagine what it meant to me to be surrounded by 4 warm young lights, to come home to the company of love, the chorus of old Mummy Dearest. But Christina said they were commanded to call Joe Mummy Dearest, until the phrase made her want to vomit. If you said, yes, Mummy, you would say, yes, Mummy, what? And she said, yes, Mummy Dearest. Joe's friend Helen Kate said, when my young son came to stay with me to go to lunch with them, Joe would snap, Christopher, whenever he tried to speak. He would bow his little head completely cowed, and then he'd say, Mummy, may I speak? Joan's children had to say that before she allowed them to utter another word. It would have been futile for anyone else to protest. Joan would only get angry and probably bend her rage and particularly. So we do have some witness behaviour. I have to say up front, the twins, the younger adopted children, have always contradicted Christina and Christopher's story. Christopher, as you see now, always backed up Christina.
The odd sister.
Yeah, we always said that definitely happened. It's weird things like bursting in the middle of the night, there was a speck of dirt on the bathroom floor. They to destroy things, make a mess on purpose, make them clear it up. If the clothes are dirty, they torn to rags, make her wear the rags for a week.
It's definitely a power trip, that.
Yeah.
And I heard she like change the kids' names as well.
The first child was originally Joan Crawford Jr., and then it was changed to Christina.
Wow. His name, I read that too. When she left that husband, she named it after her husband. The husband named Christopher.
But she wouldn't give them any help or any money. She wanted them to struggle like she struggled, even when they needed money because they were going away or trying to college or anything. There was nothing. And the final act of Joan Crawford from the grave is to disinherit them from her team.
Yeah,
So we don't mind when Bill Gates does that. Good on you, Bill Gates. Because he's just inherited his children.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he thinks that if they inherited that much money, it would make them
Has he given them nothing?
Not even a PC? No internet. But I think that's alright with Bill, but I think what she give it to the twins, and then she left the other 2 out.
Twins got some,
She said in the will, because you know why?
Christina argues that if you know why meant I'm doing it for your own good, you need help in the Bill Gates type way to make sure you don't become spoiled little brats.
It sounds like, I mean, I know we talked briefly about her childhood, but it sounds like she had a tough childhood and doesn't want to talk about it herself. A lot of these times when people have horrible childhoods, they replicate that, don't they, in the way they bring up children.
Christina alleges that they were PR toys.
Yeah.
But she put it in photos.
But that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If you were a self-mythologizer who, like, especially when she became an actress, they were silent movies, weren't they? So it's all about your image. It's all about how much your eyes can sparkle. And so if you're an image person whose livelihood and personality is your image, I guess, I don't think it's a good thing. I'm just saying maybe that's why she wasn't stopped.
It's a very good point, Amy. It sounds like she's had all of this happen to her. There's so many similarities we can see between the things that happened to her and things she did to her kids. So, for example, her name was changed without her permission. Her son's name was changed without her permission. You know, she's made to do things she doesn't want to do. At times, she doesn't want to do them. She bursts in on the kids, you know, maybe intoxicated at night and makes them do things that they don't want to do. You know, she takes control of this PR machine and, you know, makes her own kind of vehicle out of it. Very, very. Because in a way, because she's being controlled by the industry.
Yeah.
So it's almost like her kind of taking it back. Yeah, exactly.
What I find interesting about Joan Crawford is that she is famous for child abuse in a way. Like, when you think about her, you think about her Oscar-winning performances, but actually a big part of her history, her legacy, is Mummy Dearest the book. Like, her child did rewrite her history quite a lot. Quite successfully.
At the end of the Mummy Dearest Hamfest movie, the lawyer reads out, "You've been disinherited, and you know the reasons why." The brother Christopher says, "It seems like Mummy gets the last word," and Christina says, almost down the camera, "Let's see, shall we?" Oh, that's like postmodern. I'm going to rewatch it again.
I'd go to a typewriter and look down and be like, I'm writing it now.
Here we are. I'll just give you a few more horrible details before we move on. When Christina was 4,